What's going on, Ringside Rant Crew? It's your boy Alex, aka The Prophet, here with another video. Real quick before I start off, have to flaunt my new Giannis Antetokounmpo jersey that just came into the mail. Shout out Heat Nation, we're in for a great year. But I'm here to touch on another subject, what I've been on this channel doing, and that's talking about the WWE, and specifically Danhausen. Now, disclaimer before I start, I'm not a Danhausen hater. I know people might click on this for me to completely shit on Danhausen. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to give a warning to the WWE. First, let's start off how he came into WWE. Remember at Elimination Chamber, he got booed out of the building because people expected for when the crate opened to be Chris Jericho. Break the walls down, a fit. It'd be Chris Jericho, especially because they were hyping it up for like countless of weeks. And we come out and it's this goofball, Danhausen. That was the initial reaction. And you clearly heard once the music cut off and the lights cut off, you heard all the boos. And everyone was just like, ooh, that's rough for Danhausen. And I don't blame Danhausen for being in that spot. I blame WWE and the creative team more, putting him in that position to get set up like that. And I feel like they are setting him up even more for people to get tired of him. The reason being, look at this last episode of Monday Night Raw. Shout out to the Ringside Rant Monday Night Raw live shows. It's me shaking that. Stop on by. I had to plug that real quick. But look at Monday Night Raw real quick. You have Danhausen, and almost it felt like more than half the episode you saw Danhausen. He comes out to the ring, they want the human monies, all this stuff. The Judgment Day's looking to jump him, and then he's backstage. JD McDonough has a bag of human monies, whatever, throws it. It lands on Obafemi. That sets up a match. And then when you got Dominic Mysterio versus Joe Hendry, guess who comes out? Danhausen with Io Sky. I said Io Sky was going to come out. I didn't expect Danhausen. And of course, there he is again. It's just like, it felt like it was overkill. And now, he's at SummerSlam with Dominic Mysterio. And look, I get it. He's on fire right now. He's the number one cash cow in terms of, merch and everything. Pretty sure he's the number one merch seller. And, I get it. Strike fire while the iron's hot. I get it. But Danhausen is a funny character. He kind of reminds me of someone like a Hornswoggle, for example. Not saying they're exact same, but that funny character that comes out once in a blue. But the way he's being pushed right now is like a top tier wrestler, or someone who's elite on the mic. He's on SummerSlam. He was on in Saturday night's main event. It was basically his show on Monday Night Raw. And my thing is like, okay, you want to have Danhausen involved a lot, but how the fuck do you not have any of Lyra Valkyria on the last episode of Monday Night Raw? Oh, wait, she was on there, but on a fucking ad. So the only way you can see it is going on YouTube or X, formerly Twitter. Are you serious? This is what I mean. They get so focused, on the merch and the money, TKO and everything, that they just pump so much into one person, they forget about the others. All right, you want to have Danhausen at SummerSlam. But shit, there's no like Javon Evans, this is your second biggest pay-per-view of the year. And he takes up a spot, Danhausen, and I get it. Is it gonna be a funny match? Yes. But how many of these funny matches are these people gonna take before it just okay? We know to expect a mini Hauser. We know to expect a pyro. You are cursed. Here comes the pyro off the top rope. Probably when Dominic Mysterio is gonna do a frog splash. It's just like I hope it doesn't get to a point where they do the same thing with Danhausen, and it turns from people loving him to people just getting like, oh, this guy again, this guy. It's already getting to that point a little bit, but the crowd will even grow even louder. And I don't want that for Danhausen because look, I do find him funny. I liked a lot of his segments when he first came on the scene with Dominic Mysterio cursing him. I like the work that he had with Miz and Kit Wilson. I get you have to have funny characters, but you don't want to make it so much where you just know what's coming. All of a sudden, it goes from funny to absolutely stale. I hope that's not the case for Danhausen. If you guys disagree with me in the comments, let me know. Like, how do you guys feel about Danhausen? Do you think they're pushing him too much? Do you think do you think it's just right? Because I want to know. And I know Shake, shout out to my guy Shake, loves Danhausen. I get it. He's something different. There's not, 5, 6 Danhausens in WWE. You need that comedic relief, but I don't want the comedic relief to become boredom and stale. That's my main concern with how it's going right now with Danhausen. For me, I would take a break from the Judgment Day feud. I wanted him away from Miz and Kit Wilson, and they pivoted to the Judgment Day. But because he already beat JD McDonough, if once he probably beats Dominic Mysterio, I don't see Dominic Mysterio winning to him. By the way, and by the way, on a side note, Dominic Mysterio said, they don't know what to do with me. We thought he was gonna be in for a big push, and now he's gonna lose to freaking Danhausen. Like, that's a whole different conversation for another day. That's bad on its own, in my opinion. But yeah, let me know what you guys all think about this Danhausen situation. Do you think they're overbooking him? Do you think it's just right? I'm very curious to find out. If you think I'm a hater, let me know. I'm trying to see it. I'm trying to, keep a good perspective on it with this Danhausen situation. But yeah, man, let me know in the comments. I want you guys to like the video, subscribe. Almost at 800 subscribers, man. We want to keep pushing. We live stream every single Monday and reasonable times. Like the Euro stuff, 2 o'clock. We got jobs and stuff, but 8 o'clock Monday, catch us. We have videos up almost every week. You know, talking about upcoming PLEs and so forth. We live stream for PLEs. We're gonna live stream for SummerSlam both nights. Tune in. Until next time, guys. It's your boy the Prophet. Peace out.